With Marty from Morris Palmer, and today we're going to talk about director loan accounts and dividends.
Did you know that taking money the wrong way from your business could cost you thousands?
Ooh.
I know, interesting.
Very interesting.
Do you see that, Emma? Is that something you see?
I see that a lot, actually. I have a number of clients that, do go either way of the spectrum, essentially. Yeah. You have the people that pay themselves a pittance and nothing. Yeah. And then you have the people that are potentially living a lifestyle that their business actually can't support.
Yeah, particularly when there's been a decline or something in the business.
And sometimes you see it where you've had, especially in businesses that are quite... that have a longevity about them, where maybe they have had a heyday and they haven't quite recognised that the business is in maybe a decline and they haven't quite pivoted into a new world, a new market, a new industry. But their take-ins are still equivalent to how they were. Yeah. And there doesn't seem to be a recognition or an appreciation that actually they're damaging their company more so than... they could be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think especially where you've got a company where it doesn't have the reserves that have built up, perhaps they've been taking those out each year. So you've really got a company each year, it's sort of starting again with whatever profit it makes. And then you've got a shareholder who's, like you say, been taking a lot of money out of the business for a long time, continuing to do that. And suddenly we get to the end of the year and perhaps the cash isn't actually in the business to pay the corporation tax. Yeah. Well, that's quite a big clue. If you haven't got enough money in your bank to pay the corporation tax, you've taken too much money out of your business. Yeah. So that's sort of, I always think that's quite a good way of kind of looking at it on those companies where they're running like that. And if that's the case, then what we end up with is an overdrawn director's loan account. And this is where it can cost you thousands. Because essentially, if you've got an overdrawn director's loan account, then you end up, and it can't be repaid within 9 months of the year end, then you end up paying Section 455 tax, which is paid by the company, and it's at 33.75%. So it's sort of top end of the dividend tax, if you like. That's where the rate comes from.
And if you don't have the cash already... in your business or personally, that is going to hurt.
It is. And that's the point. If you've taken out too much, at some point, you're going to have to pay some sort of tax. So you're going to have to put some money back in. Yeah. So I think that's where it's really, really important these days to use what's available. So particularly the accountancy softwares, so the likes of Xero, QuickBooks, Free Agent, any of them really, they all allow you to report on your profit and loss and see what you're making. See and run a balance sheet and see exactly what reserves you've got in there, where you are with it all, and make sure you're not getting into a situation where you are taking out too much money and ending up with an overdrawn director's loan account that is going to potentially cost you in tax down the road. So it's using what's there, and I think that's where people, perhaps if they don't have the finance team or don't really know how to use the software maybe, or don't have the relationship where they feel they can ask your accountant to help you, because it's very simple to run the reports and look, but it's just knowing how to do it. And if people don't know what they're looking for, I suppose there's no point running the reports anyway.
Yeah, and I think running on from that, there's also the aspect is, I think sometimes you do have owner managers that actually do know all of that.
Well, there is
but
that.
Still carry on.
There is that. There
and
definitely is that.
Actually, I think sometimes there is the technical side of accounting of, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do? That's pretty straightforward. I think then what makes it muddy is obviously the emotional relationship with money. Yeah. And sometimes it's not just about taking money out of the business, it's what that money is then supporting and a lifestyle that has been created, and maybe a lifestyle that people don't feel they can row back from.
Yeah, definitely.
And I see that as quite a common occurrence.
Yeah. And I think also that people feel they're working really hard for a business, and if they were going to go and get a job working for someone else, well, they'd be on a salary of 100,000 a year. That's fine. So therefore, I'm entitled to take that money out, because I would be if I went and worked somewhere else. But unfortunately, as we know, when you've got your own business, you're not entitled to anything. No, you've got to make the money to be able to have the entitlement to take the drawings and the dividends out of the company. And I sometimes feel that a little bit, that I think people think they should be able to take it, regardless of whether it's actually there to take.
Yeah.